At any given moment, you have the power to say that this is not how my story is going to end. Never forget that walking away from something unhealthy is brave, even if you stumble a little on your way out. So how do we get out of these uncertain situations and darknesses we call failures? How do we get out of these uncomfortable and sleepless traumas? How do we now reaffirm ourselves and say, trauma may happen to me, but it does not define me? This is Get Out Alive World podcast with Tracy and Harridge. Hello everyone, welcome back to another episode. And today we have the beautiful, the phenomenal Olivia Shaw-Lovell. Olivia is a highly passionate and personable professional with a wealth of experience and skills in social and community development and project management. Her passion for driving impact, consistent desire to enhance the lives of others while fostering great community relations and building team spirit has contributed to a vast professional portfolio with an emphasis on results and a heart for change. Olivia is the founding executive director of Women of Destiny, JA, a non-profit organization that fosters safe haven for marginalized women. As she helps women unearth their God-given purpose so they manifest an impactful life. Olivia has over 6 years experience serving as a community development practitioner that has positioned her to guide and help others building sustainable and impactful community organizations. Her area of focus are women development, women and gender issues, and social entrepreneurship. Olivia holds a graduate certificate from George Mason University in the USA in executive and community leadership, which she earned as a Community Solutions Fellow in 2019, and a Bachelor's of Science in Medical Technology from the University of Technology in Jamaica. Olivia has received several awards for her dedication and involvement in community development and her transformational leadership, including the Jamaica Gleaners Distinguished Woman in Volunteerism, that's in 2018, and the Prime Minister's Youth Award for Outstanding Service in 2018. Let us welcome Mrs. Olivia Shaw-Lovell. Olivia, welcome.
Thank you, Tracy Ann, for having me. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Now, thank you so much for affording us the privilege to spend this session with you. Now, we're going to start off by asking you a fun question, right? And that is, if it is that you were supposed to be an animal, what would it be and why?
Okay, so this is so amazing because I've always, it's a combination. So I am that kind of dynamic person. Mm-hmm. And so I will be a unique kind of animal, and I will be a dog fin, which is a dog and a dolphin. Wow. Because those are my two kind of animals. So definitely I will be a combination of those two.
All right, great. I love that. A dog fin. I've never heard of that one. That's totally unique, just as you are, indeed.
Thank you. Yes.
All right. How did you grow up? How was your childhood like?
Well, it was what I would consider the foundation that I needed. And it was an experience that I grew up in a nuclear family. Both parents are married. And I have a younger sister. And during those time of my life, I thought I was the wealthiest kid on the block. because I had tiles in my home and it was concrete, and I'm from the inner city community of Mount Salem. So for some reason, I believe that I was wealthy and I had the mindset that I was possibly the most beautiful person in the world. No one really told me much that I was beautiful, but I was very confident in myself. Awesome. And so, not knowing that I actually was from a humble beginning, you know, I went about life with such confidence in my beauty and what my parents could do for me. And it wasn't until I passed what was that at the time? GSAT is, you know, the primary school exit examination, and I passed for Westwood High. But because of that confidence that I had in myself, I had no idea what Westwood was or what school, you know, where it was located or anything about it. I just knew that one student prior to my year of taking the examination had passed for the school and they wore straw hats. And she came back during the week when we were supposed to select our schools. And I saw her, I liked how the uniform looked, and I said I wanted to go to that school. And so I asked her what the name was, went home, told my parents, this is the school I'm going to go. So this must be my first choice. They had no idea where the school was. But appease, they're very confident and determined and highly resilient child. They did put that as my first choice. And I, you know, successfully passed my examination to attend that high school. And that is when, you know, all of my confidence would have been shattered, where I recognized that I was not as wealthy or not wealthy at all as I would have thought. I recognized that, I'm not as beautiful as I would have thought, but that really didn't change much because the early, you know, confidence that was there in myself was still you know, strong, despite, you're getting a little teasing about the acne and those kind of stuff. I was still very strong in myself. So pretty much I grew up with a family that would reassure me about these things that I believed for myself for some reason. You know, I was living in this bubble, but my family was very positive, especially my mother. Or my father. I was a dancer, active in extracurricular activities, and they were always present for these events. They were always present for competitions, and they were always rooting me on. And I cannot recall being told that, oh, you cannot do this. Oh, yes, my father did tell me I cannot cheerlead because I need to run. So he didn't want me dancing all the time. I needed to do for sports day, I had to run. But I had a very supportive family growing up that really allowed me to, stay strong in who I believe I was at that time. Yeah.
And I like that. I like the fact that your confidence, it was fostered. Your family, they took pride in motivating you and empowering you. And it's as if everything that you had there in your mind, in that bubble, as you stated, your parents were there cheering you on, going right there. So I like that they fostered all of that. And they weren't the one who burst that bubble. You were the one who burst that bubble, right?
Yes.
But guess what?
Yes.
Guess what? I'm happy that you were there with the confidence, with the exuberance. I'm so happy for that. And this is one of the things that we really have to speak to, and we really have to encourage our children, especially nowadays children. We have to encourage them to have that self-confidence, because sometimes when it is that they are here or they're there in the homes and they have a certain level of confidence and they go there on the road, what happens is that they might see some persons doing some things, but guess what? You see, when they have that belief, nobody can tell them otherwise. because it has always been in that particular environment at home, and it's the best place to build the confidence, to build the self-esteem, the self-worth, and all of that from home, right there in that family, right? So I'm happy for that. I'm totally happy for that. So you didn't get the chance to do the cheerleading, right? I hear that passion that you might have wanted to do the cheerleading. You didn't get to do that, but did you actually do the running that your father wanted you to do?
It was a negotiation. My parents would approach me in such a manner. I wasn't necessarily dictated to.
Mm-hmm.
If I asked a question, they would sit me down and have a conversation about same.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yes, my father told me if I'm going to cheerlead, I have to participate in the track activities.
Mm-hmm.
And, I kind of outsmart him by doing the math race, where I solved the mathematical equation. I did not need to run.
Mm-hmm.
And I did needle and thread. So I thread the needle. And of course, I won those races without actually having to run.
Mm-hmm.
But it was a negotiation, and I figured that we could meet half and half. So 100-meter dash was not for me.
Mm-hmm.
I knew from very well that I would have come in last. And so I did what I was good at. He didn't expect that, but I did participate.
All right, good. So I can tell that you enjoyed your early life, right?
Indeed, I did. Indeed,
Right.
I very much did.
All right.
Despite challenges, it was a very, as I said, that's the foundation that created this woman that you're speaking to. So
Awesome.
Looking back, I am very grateful for those challenges that would have allowed me to grow.
Awesome. How was high school?
No, high school is where most of the challenges began.
Mm-hmm.
High school was one of the most, I don't want to use challenging again, but that's where I faced most difficulties. High school, I went in there with the mentality, a very wrong mentality of where, because this is where I recognize, oh, you are not rich. And I wanted to still be, strong and popular and all of these kind of things, but it wasn't the most positive approach that we, went in with. And so I got in fights in grade 7. I was almost suspended in grade 8. And grade 9, I made the decision to give my life to God. And I had a best friend. I keep talking about her from week. Actually, it's her birthday week. Her name is Natalie, and Natalie was the best friend because I could talk to her about God. And it's funny how God would have showed up in my life in those days. It was simple as just asking him to bring back to remembrance all that I would have studied, and then I would have aced the test. And so grade 9, I made the decision that I'm going to go wholeheartedly into this relationship with Christ. I got baptized, participated in Baptist Union examination, would have scored top in the island, participating inter-school Christian fellowship and, on a worship committee. And I was just a transformed individual. But during that time, what I understand now is that whenever you make that decision to say yes to God, right, there's also the attack of the enemy. And I was not prepared for that attack. And I was mentally attacked. I thought I had no friends. I thought no one loved me. No one cared for me. I thought I was a financial burden to my family. It was just pure negative self-talk. So you can understand, I said a few years ago, I was so confident in myself and all that I could achieve. And then by grade 9, I hated myself. I hated my life. And these were resounding words that I would have spoken about myself. And in grade 10, I attempted suicide.
Thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Get Out Alive World podcast, where we equip victims to become survivors. Be sure to share this episode far and wide. Download from your favorite podcast host and always leave a comment about the episode. Join us again next time and same place for another episode. And if you want to donate to the tremendous work that we have been doing in saving lives, feel free to send us an email at getoutaliveworld@gmail.com. Send us a WhatsApp message to 1-876-367-7476 or on our website at tracyandharridge.com. I'm your host, Tracy and Harridge, signing out. Take care, love and blessings always. Remember to get out alive.